Alright, response video to Fred, but just a strange artifact that YouTube created on my last what the fuck video. This is the same camera. I'm trying a different resolution, but I'll process it on my end into an FLV and see if I get the same effect. But it plays fine on a computer, which is weird. I mean, so this video played fine when I played it directly. But obviously YouTube found something inside of it to, yeah. I mean, the camera is buggy. I mean, it's definitely having trouble reading and writing to the memory, but that's really weird. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, Fred, analog digital thing. Yeah, we're sort of, like I said, it's still just passing. We're just throwing things past each other. Okay, you like fucking metaphors, all right? Yeah, and it's yeah, but when do we get real? When do we talk about reality instead of talking about this world? You said you even said it. You said that the world somehow, the universe isn't harmed in any way with this God notion in people's heads, or the notion or the idea of God. And what how is it better? I guess is my argument. And it's certainly not better if people are at all if they're thinking about it as anything other than an Alice in Wonderland discussion. If people actually expect life to be Wonderland, then there's a problem. If people expect life to be Oz or happily ever after, like the fairy tales and the fables, well, then the whole thing goes to hell and shit, I think. And I guess while you lament that life has been rather expensive, I don't want to belittle the depth of your give a shit, but you seem really comfortable with the idea that somehow it can move forward, that somehow there's some sort of purpose to this cart, that this machine has some kind of function, besides just creating a needful organism and then satisfying it in a usually incomplete and mediocre way. And unless you would build some sort of ideal society where everything is, planned, and where every structure is manufactured to maximize the safety and the limitations of the expectations and the creation of the mood, the stimulation of the appetite, then yeah, it's going to fail, because it just becomes this stupid gladiator war. It becomes this idea of I need it because he has it kind of crap. We become preoccupied in a bunch of negative psychology. Victory becomes defeating somebody else. It's just, there's nothing here. And then the real point of my video is that we can isolate this down to a few facts. I mean, evolution's a fact. And then there's 9 other facts that are a consequence of evolution in terms of who we are and what our psychology is doing. And none of them are pleasant, happy, charming facts. They're all negative, feudalistic, brutally shitty facts. And so that's why they're being run from. And the God creates a way to run away. The fables create a way to run away. The metaphors create a way to run away. Life is a journey, not a destination. There, we'll just say a bunch of cliches and wipe it all away, and then people just keep like business as usual, business as usual, business as usual. And it's not going to be, number one, the future isn't looking too bright. It's looking incredibly dark, and nobody seems to be panicking whatsoever. They're just talking about how, well, they're just, floating right into the disaster. And some of these disasters, there will be no way out. There won't be any choices anymore. There won't be any point in having the conversation, because there won't be any rational society. I mean, that's just fear mongering in a way. So yeah, let that go, because it's not about whether or not it's doable. The point is that we always know it's only going to be doable at some sort of price. And again, I make the argument that nobody has put on the table a single ounce of justification, of defense against the argument of price and the fact that price is too high, and that individuals don't have a right to say, I'm going to raise my kid to be psychotic mountain climbers, or I'm going to raise my kids to be psychotically in need of, and then just fill in the blank with some kind of sick, disgusting, stupid need. Nobody would validate that, but that's exactly what people do. It's exactly, they're going to come out obsessed with something. They're going to come out needing something. They're going to come out perverted, whether you like it or not. So again, I guess I'm just calling bullshit, because you're not dealing with the truth here. And the truth is that there isn't any room for spirituality. There isn't any room in a philosophical discussion. Words like metaphor is not a good thing if you want to get anywhere close to the truth here. Talking about white knights and their valiant victory at the green grass at Flunk Stables is not gonna. You wouldn't build a nuclear power plant with that kind of crap, with a fable, with a story, with a. Trying to think of allegory, whatever the hell that is. Just come up with a bunch of other ways to call metaphors something else. Yeah, fuck. Yeah. So I'm not saying they aren't useful in conversation. I'm just saying you can't. They're being used to evade conversation. They're being used to evade reality. Because I use them all the time, of course. To explain the fact of the brick wall. I just used a metaphor. They used the brick wall as a metaphor. But I'm not describing. I am describing reality, but I'm not describing the circumstance of our reality. Alright, well, whatever. The point is, the fact that I use metaphors is a limit to how much you can use them. And if you use them exclusively, you never use real words like the word evolution, and you never use real quantities like, well, it's almost like when somebody, like in the conversation, okay, the Shakers came up, and yeah, they were a fail because they didn't do the reproducing thing. So in that sense, that was a religion that would be compatible with anti-biological or anti-DNA. But in a way not, just because the DNA doesn't care. I mean, the DNA is just as happy, I suppose, with your failure, because that recognizes your failure. So you're still in the game whether you want to be in the game or not, because it just means something else will be successful. So from the DNA's perspective, I guess that's what it wants. It wants the game to be played. And the Shakers didn't take anything out with them. They didn't take the biology out with them. They just bowed out. So even that, in a sense, is playing it the biology, the DNA's way. But anyway, the point I'm going to make is that, so here we use an example, and that example doesn't have any real value, because we know that 99.99999% of religion and God theories are going to say something like, life is cool, do more of it, because God says it's cool, and God says it's worth it. Those are what they say. Even Buddhism, sort of has that built into it too, that yeah, you live to get burned to death in the glorious fire thingy, whatever the thing was with fire. Nirvana is apparently being burned. Yeah, I just wouldn't have put those two things together, but whatever. Buddhism is fail in a lot of ways. So, I mean, everybody thinks of it as some sort of benign religion, but I don't see it as so benign. I mean, you acknowledge the game is fail, and yet you still play. What's the fucking sense in that? The fail game, keep playing it because the fire's cool. And you personally might get out of it. You personally might actually get cleansed of your need. You might evolve through enough animals to finally be done playing the game. But the game will keep on grinding up souls forever and ever and ever. Or something like that. There's no promise of a fix. Alright, last point. So anyway, yeah, so metaphors I think are good. But I mean, they got to be connected. I guess there's some other point here to make, is that they somehow have to be connected to realities. So by metaphor, to the chess game and to the pieces, and to the fact that that's what this mechanism is doing. and that we haven't justified the game, and we certainly haven't justified the cost of the pieces. We haven't justified the exploitation by the kings and the bishops and the knights of the pawns. We haven't justified any part of this stupid thing. And yet people are just raising their hands saying life is good, life is good. No, life is bad. Life is stupid. Life is inefficient. Life is unfunctional. Life is crap. And it's only your desire that keeps you playing, so just admit that. Admit that truth. That it's your desire, your hunger, that keeps you crossing the desert. There's nothing else in there. Without your hunger, you don't cross the desert. So, yeah, well, probably enough of a video. This has got to be a way to get to it from a better... I mean, I just didn't do it. This video was fail, but camera tested. I'm really tired, so I'll make excuses now. Anyway, seems like it recorded okay. Alright, well, we'll see if we get little greeny lines and shit.